As a hitter, when you step in the box, you're on offense. Welcome back to the show. On this week's episode, we will be discussing a topic that surprisingly had to be discussed with a good amount of my athletes here in house as their seasons are beginning and they're starting to do at bats and kind of take notes. Um, it's something that sounds like common sense, but then again, when I think back on my career, I think it's something that I needed to hear. And I think it's something that you as the audience needs to hear. So I figured I'd share it here on the podcast. And it's a reminder that as a hitter, when you step in the box, you're on offense. Seems pretty common sense, right? But whether it's athletes that are kind of scared to make a mistake or just fear of failure in general, it seems that a lot of athletes kind of step in the box and are super, super defensive and not on the attack. Um, and honestly, as I was talking about this, I was kind of thinking back on my career, and I feel like that's something that I definitely struggled with a lot. You kind of step in the box looking not to get out versus being in there on the attack, looking to get a good pitch to hit and trying to get your A swing off, get the barrel to it. So what actually made me want to discuss this was a conversation I had with one of my big leaguers that I train. He was in spring training. We were discussing kind of different thoughts with his swing. He was starting to feel confident, and then he was kind of just saying that when his swing is feeling like it's in a good place, he feels like every time he steps in the box, every pitch, when he loads, he's just like way more aggressive. And all he's thinking about is really just being ready early and trying to crush the pitch. And then he was saying, like, on times when he's not feeling confident or feels like he's not there swing wise or he's a little bit not confident in his approach, he felt like the pitcher was the one that was on offense. The pitcher was the one attacking him. And he was simply just kind of like on defense, defending the ball, and not really ready to get his A swing off, and just found himself in bad counts and then swinging at bad pitches, and it kind of just snowballs from there. So I think a good way to describe this is kind of the cliche, kind of the term everyone uses, like the yes, yes, no approach versus the no, no, yes. But I think that's the best way to describe it, right? We want to be in a position where we're ready to swing, we're expecting to swing, we're expecting to get our pitch, and then we can always shut it down versus guys that are, loading and not really ready to swing. And then when they see it's the pitch they want, they either are super late on it, mishit it, or they just can't even pull the trigger in general. It's something I see a lot. So this is kind of the conversation I've been having with athletes as their seasons are about to begin. And I've just been telling them, like, when you step in the box, be ready early and be ready to get your swing off every single pitch. Not being too picky. I feel like a lot of hitters have been told growing up, like, look for your pitch in your spot when it's a hitter's count. And I feel like they like make this tiniest little spot in the strike zone. It's like the ball has to perfectly be there for me to to get my swing off. And then they find themselves taking good pitches. And they blink and they're down 0-2. Kind of the same thing I was discussing that I dealt with in my playing career. So I kind of told them, don't let the pitcher dictate the at bat. Don't get super, super picky. If anything, be ready early. Be looking for a middle fastball and ready to crush it. I think that sometimes people think about having this complex approach. And that's why I love when guys like, I know Derek Jeter talked about this. I know Mike Trout had a video where they don't really look for anything in particular. They don't guess pitches. They kind of just look for a middle fastball and are ready to crush that pitch, and then trust their swing, trust their athleticism, trust their bat to ball skills as a way to adjust from there, right? So that's what I've been telling my pitchers. Be confident, get in the box, expect a middle fastball every single pitch, be ready to crush it. And that's so much easier where you see, like, okay, it's a ball, shut it down, right? Yes, yes, no, shut it down. Way better. And so kind of thinking back on my college career, as I was having these conversations, I was trying to think about, like, when I felt the most locked in. I feel like when I was locked in, like, I was obviously super confident, and I was definitely way more aggressive than usual. And I was like ready to crush each pitch. And I was kind of thinking back, some of the best hits I had were actually when I was kind of like a little bit ticked off or angry, because I know one situation I got thrown out stealing and the other team was chirping me. I know a situation where I hit one of the furthest balls ever. It was like a 3-1 pitch. I made a terrible call, and I was just kind of like angry, ready to get something to swing at. But in those situations, that kind of anger or me being mad just kind of helped me be super aggressive and just like ready to swing the bat, ready to crush it. And those are the at bats where you barrel the ball up, hit the extra base hits, hit the home runs. And then I kind of look back now, kick myself in the butt and just say like, why wasn't I thinking like that? Or why wasn't I having that dog aggressive approach every single at bat, every single pitch? And that's why I think it's so important that whether you're an athlete here that feels like you're not confident in the box or getting into bad counts, whether you're a parent trying to console your athlete because they just aren't super confident or feel like they're not having good at bats, or maybe you're a coach and you're just kind of noticing this with some of the athletes you train, or if you're a coach of a team, like your team as a whole is just not aggressive in the box. Because that's something I noticed as I was working with my travel team last year, kind of training the team all off season. We build the high level swing, feel like we can attack it, and we have a lot of hitters that are really good in the cage. Like, we're there all off season. The swing isn't the issue, right? The swing is not the issue. They're in a good position. They can hit different speeds, different spins, really good with their barrel. And then as I'm watching them in the spring and we start games in the summer, I'm like, they just like don't ever pull the trigger, right? And so like a joke that I kind of would make with my team over the summer as we're going to games is, I think it was the first couple of games, we're just like getting 0-2, like I blink, guys are down 0-2, and then they're getting either rung up on a bad call and they're looking at me, and it's like, hey, we're letting good pitches go. We're not being aggressive in the box. So the joke I always would kind of tell them was like, your parents paid all this money this offseason to develop a high-level swing and do all this work to develop you as a ball player, and you don't swing the bat. So you're just wasting your parents' hard-earned money, right? And I hear parents joke about that all the time. Like, while it's a joke, there is a sad truth to it. A lot of athletes, like, they put all the work in, right? They put in all the work. They're in a good position. The swing's not the issue. They just get scared, whether it's, for me, I know, like, I'd look at my stats and I'm already hitting 420, so I don't want to, make an out here, get walked, my bet. You think that, right? To be honest. Or you're just like, I don't want to swing at a bad pitch, or if I get out, coach might bench me. All these thoughts that go through your head. It's like, you can't control any of that. All you can do is get in the box, be ready to attack, be ready to swing. I think the athletes that do put the work in, that are in a good position swing wise, you've done everything, right? So that's the number one thing I've been telling my athletes. I think that's what you should tell yourself, you tell your athlete, your team, whatever it is you've already put in the work, right? Trust the work, get in the box confident, have that yes, no approach, be ready to get that middle fastball, be ready to get your A swing off, and don't be scared to pull the trigger, right? So, I just feel like I've seen so many hitters that when they make that switch, that switch goes off, they make that mindset shift, they kind of like turn to a completely different hitter, where it's like, oh, I don't have to be like scared in the box or let the pitcher dictate the at bat. Like, it's my box, I'm on offense, I'm going to get a good pitch to hit, I'm going to crush it. And just having that positive reinforcement mentally, right? That puts you in a position where a lot of times it does happen, right? So that's kind of the conversation I want to have this week. That's really all I have for this week's episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. While you're at it, go back, look at all the different videos we have. We have podcast episodes, hitting tips, deep dives, breakdowns, even just some insight into some of the training I do with hitters here at Zeal. Go through it. It's a free resource I want to use for you to kind of have a little bit of guidance on your baseball journey. So go check that out, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with someone that needs to hear it, and we'll see you guys next time.